in case this is your first time celebrating Juneteenth, or if you have a little one that you'd like to teach about the holiday, I think you're going to enjoy this next conversation. The other day, I spoke to Vanjie Garrett, Reginauld C. Adams, and Somson Bimbo Adenugba about their new children's book, Celebrating Juneteenth. We spoke about the need for a book like this and even talked about our own relationships with learning about the holiday. Take a look. Fellas, thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
Has being in Texas kind of influenced your want to write this book, or just kind of feeling that void that we see in schools nowadays with not being taught Black history?
Well, I'll say that when HarperCollins Versify asked me if I would write a Juneteenth book, I leaped at the opportunity. I was like, it's go time. Like I started drafting as soon as I got off the phone with them. And I know that this is a necessary book for so many different reasons, but we have three Texas creators who are projecting a very important, a very significant holiday for the world to appreciate. And so I'm just excited, one, to have been able to have the opportunity to write the book, but also to be able to partner with Reginauld and Somson on such a beautiful book.
I wanted to ask you guys what your relationship with Juneteenth was. I grew up here in Indiana, should I say, and I wasn't really given the education too much on Black history. So my knowledge for where all of our ancestors come from and everything in our background had to come kind of from my curiosity and reaching out and learning myself, because it wasn't taught to me in school. What is your background with learning about Juneteenth specifically?
Maybe I take that. I have a diaspora view to all this because way back in Africa, we always, just learn about all these stories when we watch Peter Kinte, all them stories that we don't actually know what they went through, but we were only able to be informed by the print media, the news media, and the movies that we watched. But now being here, I actually felt, not just feeling it, I researched the story while we're making the mural and able to be part of that great work. And then the words that put together by Van, actually help to vehicle the pictorial composition to interpret the story to the next generation through this book.
And I would say I was not very familiar with Juneteenth prior to being commissioned to paint the mural in Galveston. But we took a deep dive in talking with elders and historians and locals to really understand why this was such an important moment, not only to Galveston, but to the nation, and was able to translate that importance into the mural, which then was kind of like the launching pad for this collaboration with Van's words through the Juneteenth children's book. And now I'm much more familiar with the importance of this pivotal moment in American history.
And I would say when I was a kid, being able to experience the Juneteenth parade with my family was such an eye-opening experience. It was such a communal experience. I mean, people from the community, and keep in mind, this was not even the community in which I grew up. This was a community that was about 2 hours away from me, but people that I didn't know came up and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And oh, y'all go over there and get some funnel cake, or y'all go over there and do this and that. And it felt like church, but it felt like church intensified and magnified. And so as a young boy, seeing that people took so much pride in celebrating something at the time, I didn't know what that something was, but they celebrated something in such a big way that it led me to asking more questions and wanted to celebrate. And yeah, so I'm just really excited to be able to share the story with the world,
Yeah, I love that all three of you have different backgrounds and relationships with Juneteenth. And I think that just goes into making this book all the more special because, like I said, growing up as a child in Indiana, Hammond, Indiana, and not having that background, as I grew up, there was always just a small bit of kind of shame that I felt not knowing the history of my people. And now that I'm older, being able to get that education and now seeing something like this for children who can also have that, I think is just wonderful. Thank you so much, fellas, for stopping by this morning. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Juneteenth, everywhere books are sold. Thank you.